All right, everybody, we got Doug Matthews, Xavier's men's and women's head tennis coach, welcoming him onto the Pure Tennis blog. Doug's been the coach for what is this year? What year is this as your full-time head coaching?
This is year 5 as head coach.
Year 5 as head coach. And how many years were you the assistant?
4.5 as the assistant, and then 1 year as the interim head coach. And then my first year out of college, I was the volunteer assistant. So pretty much held every possible title so far.
There you go. We had to work your way at the ranks. even being kind of having a player of your background and your success, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, it's what it takes to kind of get to the top. And anyway, talk about a little bit about you were a big time player in the area in high school. You guys had a really good team. We've talked about it a little bit before. You guys were loaded, and all of you guys went on to have successful careers in college. Why did you choose Xavier when you were in high school?
Yeah, I mean, I think I went through the same struggles that a lot of high school juniors and seniors are going through right now. I remember, being a sophomore, junior, thinking, I want to get away from home, and looked at some schools, like USF and College of Charleston, kind of further away. And then I think as the process kept going, I kind of realized that, I wanted to be close to home. I'm a Cincinnati guy, grew up about 20 miles north of the city. So, love it here, and, really wanted to make an impact, and Xavier was a place that I could contribute immediately to, and the team seemed to be on the up and up, and wanted to be a part of taking the team to the next level.
That's pretty cool. Did you grow up a Xavier fan when you were grade school, high school? Were you kind of watching the basketball team or whatever and kind of into it at the point, or had you not become a Musketeer fanatic yet?
I wasn't a Musketeer fanatic growing up. I kind of like Xavier and UC. Really, once I got to college, that's when, the Xavier fanhood really started. I remember my freshman year, I painted up for the crosstown shootout and camped out a couple nights for tickets. And we actually had our first dual match the day after that game. So I painted up all blue, front row. And then, after the game, I must have showered 45 times trying to get all this blue paint off, and I couldn't quite do it. So we're in the van, we get to Eastern Kentucky the next day. That was our first match my freshman year. And our Coach Brockoff at the time, had coached Xavier for 45 years. He saw me, he's like, "Matthews, what are you doing with all this blue on you?" And I was like, "Look, Coach, I was front row, crosstown, wouldn't come off. I'm really sorry." He's like, "You just better win." and luckily I managed to win that day, and we won that match. But, just great memory there.
That's a cool memory, especially in light of this week. We got the good news that the crosstown shootout is on. It would have been weird basketball year if we didn't get the in-house city rivalry that we all look forward to every year. So yeah, you played. You had a great career. And then I was just talking, like, when did you know, like, after playing at the top, being a top college player, was there a point where you realized that, like, professional tennis was going to be a tough route, and that you thought coaching might be something that you get into?
Yeah, I honestly, I felt like I was, a good college player. But, I think I was good enough to realize that I wasn't quite good enough, if that makes any sense. There was just the next level of, my senior year, we played Ohio State in the NCAA tournament, and, they had a lot of really good players, and, like guys like that, I just wasn't quite to that standard. So, I felt like I wasn't quite close enough to go on the tour and, spend 3-4 years trying to make it, and also didn't have the financial backing to try to do that. Because in tennis, you need money to go out there and play a lot of those tournaments if you don't have sponsors. So for me, it was a pretty easy decision to kind of move on. And then, once I graduated from Xavier, I wouldn't say that I knew that I really wanted to be a college coach. I just, I loved the game, and I loved, my teammates, and, I was teaching full time at Harper's Point the year after I graduated. So,
Yep, yep.
wanted to stick around the program and help out as much as I could, in between lessons and stuff. So, I guess it was that year that I realized more that I enjoyed the coaching aspect of it. And then, I got really fortunate that our assistant at the time, he was getting his MBA. So he finished his MBA after my first year as the volunteer. And then when he left, I was able to step in and be the assistant coach under Eric Toth. And I think that's when, even at that point, I went to get my sport administration master's, and I thought, I do like this, but let's get my master's and kind of see where we stand in a couple of years. And then once I finished my master's, I stayed on, and, the rest is history.
Pretty cool. Kind of I feel like a lot of stories are like that, where you just kind of keep it going and keep it rolling, and next thing you know is you're year 5, and now it feels like you have one of your best, at least on the women's side, one of your best teams assembled yet. On paper, at least, you guys got a deep roster, so that's pretty cool how it's all come about. But a couple more things about your path. You were still playing at a high level after college. I remember watching you play in the Met when I was in high school. Watching you hit at the Western and Southern with a lot of the top players. That must have been a pretty cool experience. Can you kind of talk about any cool experiences or memories that you have from getting to hit and be around the top guys in the world at Western and Southern?
Yeah, those memories I will cherish forever. I mean, I could not have been any more fortunate to be in that position. I remember I was actually an intern at the Western and Southern my sophomore year of college. Just one of the facilities guys, going around painting whatever and picking up leaves and, all those tasks. And then, during the tournament, they really didn't have any hitting partners. And at that point, the tournaments were split, men and women.
Yep.
And so there was a WTA player that was top 10 in the world at the time, Anna Chukvitadze. I don't know if you remember that name or not, but
I was young, but yeah, I do.
Yeah, so she was top 10. She was the number 1 seed, and she asked for a hitting partner like right before one of her practices, right when she got there. So they were kind of searching around, and the person who was working the player services desk knew I was working there. So they asked my boss, hey, can Doug go and hit with this girl? And then, I hit with her like every day throughout the tournament. She ended up winning the tournament. It was an awesome experience. She was super nice. And then, kind of the next year, they were like, hey, you want to just hang out and see if people want to hit with you, and you can get in and everything like that. So, so I did that, and it kind of grew from there. And I've hit with, Federer, I've hit with Nadal, I've hit with Djokovic, Andy Roddick, Venus Williams, Ivanovic, Wozniacki, Azarenka, the list, Stan Wawrinka. I mean, the list kind of goes on, and we could probably talk for 12 hours about, all of those different experiences. And I'll never forget them.
I mean, that's 4, in my opinion. I don't know if it's, I guess I probably have a biased opinion because I grew up watching these guys, but I mean, you just named 4 of the top 10 players, at least 3 of the top 10 players of all time, probably 4 of the top. I think Stan Wawrinka is one of the greats. I mean, he's insane. So who of those 4 guys, did you have a better hitting session against one of those guys, or one of those guys popped the ball a little different than the other? Kind of compare those practices. What did you kind of enjoy the most out of those 4?
Well, it's
Roddick's my guy, but I know Roddick's not.
Who's your guy?
Reliable. I love Andy Roddick. I'm a big Roddick guy.
Okay, so they're all different. I mean, they're all great. It's way more enjoyable. The best part about it is being able to sit here now and talk about it. At the time, I'm just so nervous trying not to totally screw up, So it's way more enjoyable now. But, I'm a big Federer fan.
Yeah.
He's kind of my guy. So, hitting with him was by far the most nervous I've ever been on a tennis court before, more than any other match I've ever played. So we hit on the
that says a lot too. That's crazy. Just a hit.
Yeah. So we hit on the sunken court at the ATP, and it was getting close to the time we were supposed to hit, and most of those guys, they kind of go up in the player lounge, and then you kind of walk out there, or if it's one of the big dogs, they like get a cart and go around the people and everything. So I was kind of waiting for him, and then I didn't see him, and it was getting close to time, so I decided to just walk out on the court, because sometimes they can go a different way, and I certainly didn't want Federer to beat me on court. He's waiting for me, that'd be a bad look. So I walked down there, and the stadium is packed. Like, there's not one open seat. There's people standing around. I mean, if you've ever seen, I'm sure you've seen.
There never
Federer
is. There's never. It's as packed as most matches.
It's absurd. So, so I walked down there, which was a mistake, because then everyone's screaming at me like, "Hey, where's Fed? Are you hitting with Fed?" And it just got me even more nervous. So I'm just sitting there, waiting for him, and then he walks down the stairs, walks right up and puts his hand out and says, "Hi, I'm Roger," and and then when we were hitting, I'd say the thing that stood out the most with him was his slice, actually. Like, when he would hit that slice, knifes and stays so low, it was ridiculous.
That's pretty cool. He definitely knifes the ball. I mean, as good as anybody his chip and charge play is ridiculous. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool memory.
I guess just the kind of the difference, like Fed, he's pretty relaxed hitting, like he's not moving a ton. It's probably like 25 minutes and, just trying to get loose. And I'd say Stan Wawrinka was kind of in the same regard there, just kind of relaxed, warm up, and then hitting with Nadal, it's just the complete opposite. It's like, it feels like the first rally's match point of Roland Garros for him.
That's pretty cool though. That's like you just to see how important he takes every point, every rally ball, everything.
Yeah, no, I mean, hitting with Nadal, it's like every ground stroke he hits, especially a forehand, it feels like you're trying to return a kick serve from no man's land. It's just so heavy and bounces up like.
And what are you, 6'6"? How tall are you?
6'4".
6'4"? Okay, I didn't know. Yeah. So if a 6'4" guy is complaining about how high the ball is jumping, that's pretty serious.
Yeah, it's tough.
He's getting it over guys' shoulders that are that's always probably the toughest, especially on clay. I just love watching Nadal. And you spoke about Federer, being nervous. That's probably the first time I've experienced like somebody's presence actually just made me nervous. I interviewed he came in for his press conference last year when I was covering the tournament, and they were like I remember I got to, there was 8 people who took questions or whatever, and I was like I was the last person to like ask the question, and all I wanted to ask him was how fast the service was compared to like Wimbledon and stuff. And I remember when like Federer looked at me like to get the question, I was just praying words were coming out of my mouth. I was just like, I can't believe, like, he looks you dead in the eye. He's the most normal guy ever. But I mean, something about his aura or like the way he carries himself, it's just like the whole room watched every step he took into the room. Every like it was like kind of like what he did was like, I don't know, it was just different. I can't even explain, like, even guys that are grown men, 40 years old, 50 years old, look at him like I was looking at him. They're just like, it's crazy. It's kind of just the way he carries himself, and it's just super classy. It was just, I think he's been one of the best things for tennis in the last, pretty much forever. So, so I think that's when I grew up. I remember like always being like, wow, that was like Doug gets to hit with all these crazy good players. Like that's unreal. And now I get to see all these high school kids, and I'm always thinking like, wow, I think Doug Matthews kind of started that thing. There was never hitting partners just like sitting in the lobby waiting to be called. And now I go in there and there's like Ronit from St. X was in there, and Austin Hussey was in there, and a bunch of players are in there just waiting to get called from the females and the males. And it's just, I remember back in the day when it was only like 2 or 3 of you guys that kind of had that the honor of kind of going out there with the top players.
Yeah, it's grown a lot. It's cool to see. I mean, really everything about that tournament's grown a lot, and it's great to see. And we're clearly Cincinnati's so fortunate to have that event.
Yep, for sure. It's one of my. I know I've seen you out there a couple of times. It's probably my favorite week or two of the year, whatever it is. I guess 2 weeks now. Yeah, favorite 2 weeks. So yeah. Anyway, let's get on to this this Musketeer team that you got this year. I know we talked. I went to a couple practices, and I was watching actually more of the women on the day one, and I'd asked you how this team was looking. You guys got some transfers in, um, a lot of talent at the top, and a deep squad really. Talk about kind of what you are your kind of expectations or your goals for this year, and kind of talk about the newcomers and some of the girls that you're looking forward to seeing in action this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about this team. You know, I feel like this is kind of a big redemption year for us. You know, 2 years ago we had the historic season where we were 22-3 and came up inches short in the Big East championship. Which was heartbreaking, but obviously looking back on it, was an unbelievable season for us. And then last year, we were banged up with injuries and really never got rolling. And then the season was canceled, so we didn't have a chance to turn it around in the Big East tournament. So this year it's kind of like a redemption season for us, where we've got high goals. We right now in the fall we're just trying to get used to each other. We've got four new players, but we feel like our number one goal every year, regardless, is to win the Big East championship. And we feel like that's a realistic goal for us this year. But right now we're not competing this fall, so we're just pushing each other in practice every day, and trying to figure out what our lineup's going to be come spring. Which is a lot tougher when you don't have matches against other teams to kind of size each other up with. So we'll see. I mean, I like our experience. We've got youth, we've got experience. We've got Amir Kyle, who she's a senior. She's been all Big East every year. She's probably, she's played number one her first 3 years. So, I don't see that really changing this year. But then, we've got a lot of talent behind her, so I think that's kind of where we gotta, make some decisions. And, top six or they play, and, we've got 9 on the roster, and, all 9 are really viable for playing time. So, we'll kind of see how it plays out. We've got 2 freshmen, Amani Graham from Florida. She's playing really well. She's 5'10", athletic, plays big. She's really fitting in nicely. And then we have Blessing, who's from Cleveland, Ohio. She's a freshman. She's really talented, and she's got as good of a forehand as you'll find. And then 2 transfers, Kat Lyman from West Virginia. She was a freshman there last year, so she played 1 doubles, 3 singles for them. She was, I think, as high as 26 in the country on the recruiting boards. So, she's definitely going to be an impact player for our team. And then Lucy from Utah State, she's a grad transfer. So, the experience that she brings playing number 1 at Utah State last year. I mean, she's even in a career that she didn't get to finish with COVID. She's top 10 all time wins at Utah State. So, that's 4 really good players. And then, the other returners are all really good too. So, I'm excited about the season. And, right now we're trying to figure out, what our schedule is going to look like. But, as it stands right now, we've got, several Power 5 opportunities, early in the year. And, we're hoping to knock some of them off.
Oh, that's awesome. You guys are, you guys are deep, and you guys got a lot of athletes. So like a lot of girls that can really move and hit on the run. And I watched a few of them, and they just look, that team looks confident. And they're, even with all the difficulties and challenges that through this COVID and stuff, it seemed like the energy was pretty upbeat at practice. Girls were kind of just the let's go X cheers, or just the random cheers. Everybody, like, it feels like everybody was pretty locked in, and they know they're not competing, it looked like they were having fun and getting after it. And yeah, it's kind of cool to see everybody else. That was kind of my first time seeing you guys in action. And yeah, you guys, you said that you guys could realistically be top 50 or even higher in the country this year, which would be big time.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go over the men's team a little bit. Also had a chance to watch them a couple of times. Those guys are fun to watch. They get after each other. A little more smack talk in the men's practice than the women's. I always enjoy that banter, and just when they know that there's a couple of guys watching, it was cool to watch them kind of have a little fun with us and just kind of keep it light. But definitely those guys don't want to lose each other in practice, and they're playing for pride. So kind of talk about this year's men's team and kind of what you're looking forward to out of this year's squad.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the men. I think we've struggled a bit the last few years, and I think this year's team's got a real opportunity to kind of put us back on the map per se. We bring back pretty much all of our starters last year. We've got a couple good freshmen. Caden from California, he's playing well, and then we have a Swiss freshman. Pascal, he's not here yet. He's still back at home, but he's going to come over in January. And then we've got Brett and Serge, who played 1 and 2 for us last year. So though they're playing well. Arnaud, he's a transfer from San Diego State. He's grad transfer, so he's back in France right now, but he's coming back in January. So we expect him to be an impact player. Another transfer, Campbell, from Cal Poly. He's come to campus the last few weeks, and he's playing really well. And then some other our other guys that were back.
You hit the transfer portal pretty hard this last year.
Well, we hit the transfer portal pretty hard. Yeah, I'd say
Good old portal.
We might have led the country in transfer portal logins at one point, especially checking the men's and the women's a couple times a day.
You were logging into the portal more than Blackboard.
That's true. Yeah, so I'm excited for the season. I think our guys are going to be good. I feel like we're going to be really competitive in the Big East. Sure, we'd love to win a Big East championship. I think we need to set stepping stone goals a little bit. We haven't been in the Big East semifinal in a few years now, so I think a good start for us is let's be one of the top 4 teams in the Big East, and I think with our returners as well as the newcomers, I feel like we can do that, and we've got a good competitive group. Like you saw at practice. I mean, this team really likes to compete and get after it in match play and practice. So, we've been doing a lot of that, and it's been fun seeing guys getting after each other.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching I just remember specifically watching Brett was the guy, I think it was Brett. He was just, grinding for like 25, 30 minutes, playing two-on-ones. Just wild watching those guys swing like 90% at balls just for 25 minutes. And like I remember 3 or 4 times his teammates asked him if he was ready to rotate or if he was good. He just kept saying, nope, next ball. Like he was throwing the next ball in, and it was just – that's pretty cool to watch those guys in the offseason working on their game and just getting their craft right for the season.
Yeah, he's got a high motor for sure.
He does, man. It's crazy. It's not – he's full out swinging at that ball, and it's – I think it was Cade and somebody else, and they were giving it to him, and he was just handling balls at the baseline every time. So I think I'm excited to get to a few matches for sure and check those guys out in live competition. Hopefully they let some fans come in. But yeah, just kind of wrap things up. You talked about what made you come back to coaching and how you kind of liked it. You kind of loved your experience, loved your teammates and everything, and that just the whole kind of camaraderie feel of being a part of a team, being a factor. What do you feel like you've taken away from tennis? Like, is there anything that tennis has helped you with off the court, or what draws you to tennis? Like, what makes you like what kind of has drawn your passion out on the tennis court or in coaching or whatever it may be?
Yeah, it's been a journey. I feel like I don't know what life is like without tennis. Both my parents played tennis, so I think before I could walk, I had a tennis racket in my hand, and I've always played. So I've always known it, and it's always been a big part of my life. But I just feel like sports or, a tennis match in particular. It's just kind of a microcosm of life, really. You just kind of got to compete and handle adversity. And, just, I would say that has taught me the most, through tennis there. And just the relationships I think that I've developed over the years, playing the sport and coaching and just being at Xavier has been, really special.
And that, you being a big hoops guy and just a sports fan in general, like myself, and team sports, I love team sports as well. Do you feel like you've kind of helped bridge that gap, coming from a background that you appreciate, you play basketball, you love basketball too as well, and tennis can be kind of isolating for these players. Do you feel like you kind of help bring these guys like together, and is that something that you feel like is important as a college tennis coach?
Yeah, definitely. I think playing a team sport, in recruiting, it's something that we look for. I mean, it's not a deal breaker, but we really like players that have played other sports or a team sport growing up, because you just feel like you just get it a little bit more. It's not all about you, and to be a good tennis player, or good in any other sport too, but tennis probably in particular, you need to be a little bit selfish, and when you're playing for your team, once you get to college, you still have to be a little bit selfish, but you gotta recognize, you gotta be happy for your teammates when they do well. We want to be the loudest team. We want to be cheering for each other. So I definitely think that playing a team sport growing up has kind of helped me kind of talk to them about some of those things. Because you think about it from a tennis player's perspective, you grow up, you enter a tournament, you're in the tournament, you win, you keep going, you lose, you go home, but you're always in the tournament. And if you can't get into that tournament, then you play a lower level tournament, but you're always playing, right? And then you get to college, you've never been on the bench before if you've never played a team sport, because the top 6 play. So, sometimes you have to, kind of learn how to do that. And, it's not easy. So, I always have a story where I can relate to some of them with, when I was playing tennis at Xavier, I always started, but, in high school basketball, there was a time when I was a junior and, wasn't playing a lot and really had to dig deep and, work hard and kind of find my way, find a spot. So, those are the kind of things that we try to help them with.
That's pretty, and you said, yeah, just, I think that's what makes tennis more fun, is if you realize everybody's kind of in it for that, not all individual, and everybody's kind of going their own path. But yeah, I think that's, we always talk about basketball, and I think it's a lot of these guys like up here, they'll tell me like, you're not really like a tennis coach, you're more just like a sports coach. And I'm like, I just take it as a compliment. I'm like, that's fine. I was like, oh, so it's kind of funny. So yeah, you guys, last question I really wanted to ask was, doubles used to be like, it still is. I love doubles. I'm a big doubles guy. I think doubles is fun. I think it's super important for these juniors to learn whether they go to high school. Do you think, like, I'm not gonna say college tennis is taking the importance out of doubles, but just making everything quicker and stuff. Are you a fan of how tennis has kind of changed the kind of scoring and making everything quicker and kind of how the dynamics have changed with getting matches through a little quicker? Are you kind of a fan of how they've done this?
Man, I hated it at first. Just the tennis is an old school sport, and there's a lot of tradition. So I'm a little bit of a traditionalist. So at the beginning, I didn't like it at all. But as we've gone through it, maybe this is year, I don't know, 4 or 5 of playing no ad. It's kind of just learn to adapt. It is what it is. I think in singles it's okay for sure. The no ad kind of adds a little bit of drama. Sometimes in the doubles, I feel like it goes a little bit too quick at times, especially you get guys, serving huge one set of doubles. It comes down to one or two points. You might get one chance to break the whole set, and, they might have one chance to break. And if you miss the return, they make the return, then you just lost that set. But
Right. Takes out the strategy a little bit in doubles. A little.
Yeah, it's just I feel like it's a little bit more of a crapshoot,
Yeah.
And I guess from a coaching perspective, we have to do a good job of having our players ready to go from the first point, because we don't. They also changed the rule. There's not a warm up with your opponents anymore. You just go out there and you start.
I
Um,
didn't know that.
so you've got to be ready from the first point.
Huh.
If you if you don't show up the first 5 minutes and you get broken, the set couldn't be over.
So that I didn't. So no warm up for singles or doubles, or like you go no warm up with your opponent anymore.
Nope, no warm up with the opponent. So doubles, you just go out, spin the racket, and go. And then after doubles, there was a 5-minute break where you make sure your lineup's right, and then after 5 minutes, you just start in singles too.
And I get it. I mean, I get it for sure because I played college and you would hate when you would take 5 hours because there's courts that you only fought 4 or 5 courts and you're taking 4 or 5 hours to get in 9 matches or whatever. So I'm sure, and from a fan's perspective, we can hopefully build tennis up for fans and kind of make it more exciting and quicker paced and all that stuff. I get all that so we can kind of grow the game. But yeah, it's been pretty cool. I feel like tennis has grown a lot during this quarantine in popularity. I feel like the interest has peaked. Just working at Midwest, I feel like we're getting more people DMing about equipment and gear and the interest in college and professional tennis, and people actually want to learn what about these athletes, which is really cool. I feel like tennis and golf have really been able to thrive during this, and I think tennis we need that because there's a lot of great athletes that play the sport, and I'm looking forward to kind of following you guys and promoting Xavier tennis, and I think you guys be a lot of fun to watch for fans in the area. I know Midwest has enjoyed just seeing that we have some good players in the area, and we definitely need to do a better job of kind of marketing these athletes. We're drawing in athletes from California. It's just like you said, all these athletes from California and transfers from all over the country coming to play at Xavier. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, hey, I appreciate all the coverage and all the support we get. So thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. You guys, good luck in practice. Get after today, and I'm sure we'll be keeping in touch. And hopefully, I'll get down to another practice here soon. And I'll put this will be up on the PureTennis blog. We'll cut some answers out and post the pictures that we had from the practice session. I think a lot of them turned out clean, and hopefully the women and the men will appreciate them. And I would like to get out there and get some more content.
That'd be great. Thanks a lot.
No problem, Doug. I'll get this up there and kind of cut it up, and we'll get back in soon, and we'll have to get out there and hit here shortly.
Let's do it.
Cool. All right, Doug. Have a great day. I appreciate you coming on PureTennis blog, and go Muskies.
All right, thanks, Nate. Appreciate it.
All right, Doug. Have a good day.
All right, you too. See you.
See you.